You're watching the Top 6 Show, the original multi-club fan channel. Make sure you're following us now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description below. Welcome back to the Top 6 Show on Monday. Declan Rice and Timber to be announced as completed deals imminently. Medicals all being taken care of. I know some Arsenal fans are getting a little bit impatient, but we're going to go through those deals today. We're talking Amrabat to Manchester United. Could this possibly happen? Chelsea and the Caicedo chase heats up. But what else do they need? Are their fans getting a bit ahead of themselves? We're talking Tottenham as well on today's show. And Tottenham in a very, very interesting position. 3 signings down. The fans buzzing over the new manager. But fuming today at the comments from Mauricio Pochettino. We'll be delving into that, touching on a bit of Liverpool as well. Welcome to my panel. We've got Premzy with us today, back after a while. Man Like Have Hope is back with us. Chatty Patty's in the house. Nobbins is here. He was meant to be on over the weekend, but he bottled it after the new allegations of cheating came out. And that's a joke, by the way, maybe. Tom Little's here. You won't know this about Tom. Tom's just had 2 weeks in a very hot country, and he's come back whiter than Casper the Ghost. I don't know how that is possible. Legitimately crazy. And man like Cam is here on a weekday in the afternoon. Who can believe it? All the way from Canada. So big up to yourselves. And thank you very much for being on the show with us today. Viewers, hit like buttons. Make sure you're subscribing and got the bell notification turned on as well. But I wanted to go to you first, Cam, actually. Man United today reportedly agreeing personal terms with Amrabat, having a conversation, discussing the transfer with Fiorentina. Is that the next type of... We've also had Fabrizio say that United will make another concrete offer. He loves the word concrete this summer, Fabrizio. He's a madman. He's saying that United will go for another midfielder. Is that the type of player we need to go into that midfield to shore it up with the likes of Mount and Bruno ahead of them?
Yeah, so, I mean, he plays mainly as a DM. So when I look at him and I look at his profile, like I haven't watched a lot of Fiorentina, so I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about how he played in Italy. I watched him in the World Cup and whatnot. I think it makes sense, right? When you think about the fact that Mount was never going to be our only signing, and every United fan out there who's freaking out, like, oh, there's our marquee signing, and no, we're building a midfield. we're getting rid of Scott, we're getting rid of Fred, we're rebuilding our midfield. And if you go to me at the start of the summer and you said you're going to replace Fred and McTominay with Mount and Amrabat, I'm very happy about that, right? Like, we can't just go get Frankie de Jong. We can't just go get the certain players. Like, so when we think about players that are available and the fact that Casemiro can't play 70 games next year, you need a guy who can step into that position, but also play alongside of him. He can play in the midfield. I've done reading about him, but I'll be completely honest. Like, I haven't had a chance to watch Fiorentina play a lot, so I don't have. I'm never going to pretend like, oh, I've watched this guy a whole bunch in Serie A, because I haven't watched him play that much. But based on, to answer your question, I think it's a great signing alongside of Mount. I think it makes sense of what we're doing. It makes sense of the Mount signing, basically.
Wait, I mean, so you're saying that 55 million plus 5 is not a marquee signing?
No. In what world? How does 55 million
Mount
become
is
a
marquee signing?
That's
you can't say
norm.
it's not. Of course, it's a marquee signing.
That's the
it's
new
55
norm.
plus 5.
That's the new norm. And I hate this whole 55. Let's call it 55 for now, because it's
potentially 60.
Yeah, but we don't know what those add-ons are. Do you? Do you know what the add-ons are? Because I don't. So unless they're super achievable, I don't like talking about add-ons.
But you just said Mount is not a marquee signing.
He's not a marquee signing, though.
How are you buying a player above? No, it doesn't matter what the market is. How are you buying a player above 50 is a marquee signing? And has been chasing him for a long time. And also, if we pushed it, you should have actually paid 665. So actually, really, you actually paid 65 and 70, really. But we just pushed it down because we were nice to you. So it is not. It's a marquee signing. Of course, it's a marquee signing.
How would you define a marquee signing?
So really, it's 65.
Hang on a minute. So yeah, answer Nobbin's question.
Don't get
have hope. Slow down. Answer Nobbin's question. It's very good.
How would you have hope? Have hope. Hello, first of all. How would you define a marquee signing?
A marquee signing, look, Nobbins, that's an amazing question. That's an amazing question. It deserves an amazing answer.
Which you can't answer.
No.
I can't wait to hear this amazing answer. This is going to be gold.
Price is one aspect. Hype, social media activity, how he's being presented, the talk and dialogue around him. When he puts all those things together, whether you like it or not, Mason Mount is a marquee signing. It's not my fault that most United fans are like, oh my God, we've wasted all this money on a mid player whose career has been built off of the simplest through ball of all time. And his entire career is made because he's paid guys off in the media, aka Mount's PR. It's not my fault that you overpaid for him, because we all know that he's a 30 mil player.
You guys wanted 80 million for him. How did he overpay?
So that's the opposite of hype, isn't it?
You for a marquee signing, a really isn't a marquee signing, because I'm sorry, based on how you talked about him, based on how you said you needed him, he's a marquee signing.
Where's the hype? No, okay, sorry. I'm going to respond to your question now. Your point here. You're saying there's all this hype around him. Not you. Find me the Man United fans that have been buzzing and going crazy. You find me the posts where people are like, we need Mount. We've literally came into a situation saying the manager has identified Mason Mount as somebody who could help our midfield. You guys said 80 million. We go, yeah, no, not happening. We'll see you when you get reasonable. You try to then sign him to a deal further on. He goes, no, I'm still not coming back. And they go, oh, okay, actually, guys, 65 is fine. And then we get it to 55. How is that a hyped up marquee signing? It's basically us saying, yeah, we like the guy. We'll take him, but we'll walk away. A marquee signing is somebody you go all out for. A Declan Rice, Enzo Fernandez. Those are marquee signings. What are you talking about? Mason Mount's just an addition to the team.
Mason 55 Mount is an addition.
He's a good player.
Mason Mount was a top target of our manager. Again, we're going to get into an argument over what does marquee sound and look like. So when it comes to Mahala Mudryk, just based on your logic, have hope. That's a marquee signing that must deliver for you. Then yes.
Am I allowed to be truthful on this panel?
Well, that's what you're meant to do anyway.
Okay. Okay. The best way I can say this is Mudryk was a political signing. That's all I'll say.
Fair enough. So you're okay. So he's not marquee then, because
he's not a marquee signing. No.
Okay, fair enough. No. So yeah, there's always excuses for you lot. In terms of Amrabat, though, Premzy, Man United need a bit more in the middle in terms of controlling it, maintaining possession. They have Casemiro that can win the ball back, but you can't put all your eggs in that basket. Is that the kind of profile of player United need to go for to really improve that midfield? Because surely Mount isn't enough on his own.
To be fair, I'm surprised United have gone in for him. I can't sit here and lie and say I know a lot about the player. I've seen him here and there, watch him in the World Cup, and he looks decent. But it's crazy over the years growing up. I'm used to seeing United going in there and getting big targets, going and getting players that the world wants. And it's just pretty crazy how they're going in there and getting players that are not really attractive to every team. I'm surprised they didn't go in for Caicedo. I'm surprised they didn't go in for Declan Rice. And even with the Lavia links as well, I'm surprised that there's no talk around United going in for him. But then again, you got to give Ten Hag credit. Ten Hag's coming to United and he has actually done well, in my opinion. I think he's changed the way they play football and he's changed the structure of the team as a whole. So maybe United fans got to give him a little bit of trust and see what he can give, because he's only been there for a season. Look at Arteta. I think a lot of fans wasn't happy with Arteta when he came in and how the first couple of years went. But then he started to bring signings in and so far, so good over the majority. So maybe with United, we're going to have to wait and see. It might be a little bit of a different period for them rather than bringing in Galactico players. Maybe they're trying to build a squad and build a team with good chemistry. Well, they have, haven't they, over the last, when I was growing up, whoever United wanted, regardless if I like them or not, they used to go and get them. So it is a change of tactics. But yeah, that's how I see it, man. With the Mason Mount one, I'm a bit surprised. I think Mason Mount, for me, I would never go anywhere near him for that kind of money. Even with the Havertz one to Arsenal, I'm still shocked about that. But then again, is he a better option than Christian Eriksen? I probably would say yeah. But I'm surprised they didn't go in for James Maddison as well. I think James Maddison's a lot better of a player than Havertz or Mason Mount, in my opinion.
So wait, man, do you think they overpaid? If it's 5 mil, do you think they overpaid, Premzy?
Yeah, Mount? Definitely. Yeah, my opinion, yeah.
You overpaid for half of the players on your squad. What are we doing?
No. Wait. How does it? What? We're on United. Terry, are we on United? Don't bring Chelsea. I just asked a simple question to Premzy. Did you overpay per month? Premzy said yes. Patrick said yes. Nobbin said yes. Thomas said yes. We've all agreed that you overpaid for him. So just accept that we fleeced you for it.
I've not said anything.
I was going to say, Tom's
I
not
don't
said
think I heard
anything.
Chelsea have been
They all
Chelsea
agree.
have been stinging everyone, man. We've overpaid for Havertz.
And also, Premzy, let's not talk about Havertz. Let's not even talk about Havertz and what we did to Havertz.
We'll get onto that when we get to Arsenal. The one thing
I'm with you. I don't want to speak about it.
One thing I was going to say though about United, I think sometimes when we think back to like rival clubs, we sometimes see things differently. Man United, of course, if you look at our peak years, signed some of the best players in England, some of the best players in Europe, but we also signed players that people didn't expect us to go and get. So we missed out on Alan Shearer, and then we went and signed this unknown striker from Norway who was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as an example. You know, we plucked Javier Hernandez out of nowhere, and he helped us win 2 league titles in his time under Sir Alex Ferguson and was very, very good. So I look at the Amrabat signing, and sometimes those types of signings who are maybe not on the tip of everybody's tongue that everybody's buzzing about, I quite like, because is there something my manager's seen that he thinks can really bring his sort of style and system to like? I think we are linked to some top players this summer, though. Like, we're very close, according to the Italian press, of doing a deal for Onana. Now, that's one of the best goalkeepers in the world in terms of shot stopping and playing the ball out with his feet. The Mount deal, look, I agree with. I'm not a big fan of Mason Mount. So it's one of those where I'm putting faith in my manager more so than like hyping him up, if that makes sense. But we need to be able to spend more money and go out and get more targets to fill holes. We need this damn takeover to go. And I hope Joel Bayer is bang on, and there's some news tomorrow, and we can get these goddamn Glazers out.
Takeover is killing us right now.
Yeah,
it's killing us, and people need to realize that.
We've got money to spend, and we'll still probably spend 200 million with the Glazers staying. But we've still got too many holes to fill them all. We've got us in one summer. It's going to be a 350 million pound summer, and I just want. I'm being greedy. I want it all done in one summer. I don't want to have to wait to another year for it, because everybody else is improving, especially Arsenal. We'll get onto Liverpool in a bit. They've done some brilliant business so far, and could be adding more to their team as well. There's a super chat here says United fans talk about overpaying for players. That's rich. Oh no, we know all about it. We absolutely know all about it, and that's why we've got the authority to criticize, because our club is notorious for it. You're absolutely right. However, I won't stand there and say we overpaid when we set a limit of 60 million as a top amount we would pay as a lump sum fee. And we were quoted 80 to begin with, and we got him for 55. That's not overpaying.
I honestly,
in the negotiation, but
out of all the midfielders that have gone this summer, like, I will not be surprised if Mount ends up being the best fit for his team. Like, I personally, I'm not in the world of thinking Maddison's better than Mount. I don't think that. I personally don't. I think where Maddison plays, I think. Listen, I don't, because
wait,
hold on.
Mount
Let me finish. Madison's not going to play as an 8 at all in our team ever. He's not going to be able to play on the wing. Like, so for what we need, realistically, I know everybody's talking about we need a ball carrying midfielder XYZ, and that's not Mount. But when I watched that game against City, that final, and we had no energy in our midfield, and we had absolutely zero energy in that midfield. And Mount is actually a very good player in that sense. So when you compare the two, and where they're going to play, he's more than energy. But anyway, where they're going to play, like, Mount wouldn't have worked. I mean, Maddison wouldn't have worked in our team because he's not unseating Bruno ever. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, for me, Mount's a better player for us. I'm not saying better. I'm like, so I think when you put the fits, Mount's a good fit for us. Like,
so do you not think that if you just bring Amrabat in, he's not going to be playing alongside Casemiro and you will play with a number 10?
We don't know. Like, with the thing that's interesting with Ten Hag,
because I think if that was the case, then Maddison's definitely a better option.
But the thing is, I don't know where Amrabat's going to play, and I don't know if he's coming into play right away or if he's coming in to deputize for Casemiro, because he is a DM by like, most of his games have been played at DM, and Casemiro's 31, 32, he's 26. So having a succession plan in place before you get to that point also makes a lot of sense. Having a guy who, apparently Casemiro, people talk about this super undisciplined player who's going to get reds all the time, when it's only really happened in England. Like, if he does miss time, that's where we fell off. When we lost Casemiro, we were like, those 7 games were dire. So if we have a guy who comes in and automatically for 8-10 games can spell Casemiro, and we don't have a huge drop off, that's already a boost.
He might just be there for when he gets.
We've got to raise our floor. We've got to raise our floor. Yeah. Anyway, we got to raise our floor. So that's why I like that signing.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree. I think Mount's better for us than Maddison, not because he's better than Maddison at Maddison's number 1 position, but Bruno's better than Maddison. So that's who he's in the position of. And Mount can play deeper. He can play the 10. He can go out to the right-hand side. That versatility is where I believe Erik ten Hag will utilize him. he likes versatile players. It's a simple. By the way, if Donny van der Beek was playing for Man United, how he was playing at Ajax, we wouldn't have needed a Mason Mount. It's just that he hasn't delivered. He hasn't had any consistency. He had his knee badly hurt as well, so he's going to be moved on. So it's essentially a replacement for Donny van der Beek, is the way I see it. This here says we'll come back to the if you're chatting about anything that isn't Man United related, we'll come back to it later on when we get to that club, okay, people, so that it's consistent. Surprise United didn't go for Szoboszlai. He wanted Liverpool, so you got to remember, you're never going to go for a player that doesn't want to join your club because it's a waste of time, you know, Raul. Like, I get what you're saying, but he wanted Liverpool. Maybe we were interested, but he wanted Liverpool, so yeah, you move on. Mudryk signing was a donation to Ukraine, is what Sage says there. Fair enough. We're not getting into that talk on here because YouTube will take my channel down. Mount is an unusual signing by United, as they need someone who can take on the Eriksen role, someone who can control games, and Mount is not that. United have overpaid, but English players are overvalued. Well, if they're overvalued, then we haven't overpaid, because that means you're paying the value of English players. But I hear where you're coming from. Look, and we'll see. The transfer window isn't over. And it's already been documented by the top journalists that we're looking for another midfield player as well. I'm going to judge it at the end of the window because we're not done yet. You know, it's a bit like Liverpool fans being angry at McAllister and Szoboszlai and the links to Lavia because they haven't signed a new centre-back yet. You've got 2 more months of this, Neil, but I hear where you're coming from, mate. This here says, would Maddison have been better than Mount? We've already kind of gone through that. I don't personally think so, for what I think Mount's going to be used for, but we will see. Speaking of Maddison, Spurs have had, quite a lot going on. And how are you feeling, Patty? Because I know the end of the season, you all were in depression mode. Didn't want to watch football anymore. You were never. I remember one of the shows you said, it might have been in the group chat, but I swear you said, you're never getting excited in a transfer window again. You're never getting excited in pre-season again. You're never going to get carried away again. I've seen a few of your tweets, Patty. You seem to be getting very excited. Chatty Patty is back. How are you feeling about the Spurs?
The thing is, like I said, I think with Spurs fans and even football fans, it's so polarized. You're either all the way over here or you're all the way over there. I'm just in the middle right now. I think for what we've done, for the time elapsed, it's been decent. We've brought in 3 players. I'm not going to count the loanees turn to, permanent players, as in Kulusevski and Pedro Porro, because they don't really count for me. But the fact that we got a goalkeeper in, I wanted David Raya, but, Brentford were messing around with the evaluation. So we moved quickly and got Vicario in, who was meant to be a really good goalkeeper. Like Cam with the whole Amrabat thing, I'm not going to lie and sit here and say I've watched him. I didn't even know who he was. But in terms of what he represents, what people are saying about him, he looks like he's a good goalkeeper. Obviously, the James Maddison one is something to be excited about. That guy is a top playmaker, one of the best 10s in the league over the last 3 seasons. He's shown that, can deliver a wicked free kick, dead ball specialist, corners, scores goals with his right, left foot. And obviously for us, what we've needed since Eriksen is a lock picker, someone who can get on the ball, dictate, control the game. We've had no one in the midfield that can do that for us. So for me, that's a perfect fit. So I think that's a brilliant bit of business. And then obviously you add also the fact that we've brought in a bit of depth to cover Lucas Moura going. So far, it's been a decent start to the window. So that's what I've been saying. I'm not going to sit here and be overly excited, but also at the same time, I can acknowledge what we've done so far. For me, we still need 2 centre-backs. We need a left-footed, left-sided LCB to partner Romero, someone very good. And then also we need another centre-back to obviously cover for Romero or, cover for injuries. And then obviously after we get rid of Deadwood, then we need to upgrade in those positions. Like for me, Pierre Højbjerg needs to go and we need to upgrade there. And even Oliver Skip, as much as some of the Spurs fans love him, I don't think he's good enough. Not good enough on the ball, not good enough in possession, not good enough out of possession. For me, he needs to be upgraded as well. So there's still a lot to do. But the fact that we're, 2 or 3 days into the transfer window, our manager only started on July the 1st. I think it's a decent start, but we don't need to rest on our laurels. There's still a lot more to do.
Wait, Patrick, just a quick question. I think what we really need to know, and this is the key question here, do you really believe that Angie Martinez can cook with these guys? That's what we really need to know.
You know what? Again, I'm going to keep it 100. Postecoglou isn't someone that I wanted. Postecoglou isn't someone who I thought was good enough to be at Spurs and managing in the Premier League. I think it's a big step up. It's yet to be seen. He's saying a lot of good things. A lot of the fan base are behind him. I'm just going to keep it 100. I don't know. For me, I don't know. I would have preferred to get someone who you guys all knew the caliber of managers that I was after. He's here now. Obviously, I've got to back him and get behind him. He's performed at every league he's been at. Every step so far, he's stepped up and he's performed. The thing I like about him is that he's happy to be at Spurs. He wants to be at Spurs and he wants to prove himself. So maybe that will work because we've done the whole Conte and Jose Mourinho managers that essentially were bigger than Tottenham in the sense of they thought they were doing us a favour. And as soon as things got sticky, they threw their toys at the pram and didn't want to be here. So maybe it is good to have somebody who is on a long contract, is happy to build, reshape the club in his image. And obviously, first and foremost, play a decent caliber of football, decent style of football. So I can't lie to you, have hope. I don't know. That's the honest answer. But if everything that I've seen and everything I'm hearing is correct, and then yeah, we might be in for a bit of a surprise. That's all
I think like what Tottenham are doing now, I think this is the direction they should have always gone through. I think when they brought in Mourinho, and then Conte, it was like, okay, no more vibes. Let's actually try to win. And I think Mourinho and Conte were not here to play a good brand of football. They were just here to win. But I think what you saw was Mourinho and Conte were like, oh man, the mentality of this group is light years away from what is needed to win a trophy or a competition. And it was very hard for them to change that mentality. So I think that's what is happening now is rather than putting pressure on like win, where you need a particular kind of cutthroat mentality to win a trophy, I think it's like have a foundation of entertaining football, quality football, and hopefully that may now yield a trophy. Who knows? But I just think that, that's projects of like, wait a minute, let's actually try to win something now. That was just an abject failure. So
Premzy, as a rival, as an Arsenal fan, are you looking at what Tottenham are doing and thinking this really could work out, or are they not even in your thoughts?
To be fair, I think we're at two different stages. Tottenham are literally rebuilding from scratch by the looks of it, and they don't know whether they're going to be keeping Harry Kane this season, but we know he's going to be going next season. I think obviously we're looking a bit more towards the top of the table and competing for the league, especially with the signings of Rice and players that are being linked to come into the club. But look, you've got to give Tottenham time because at the end of the day, they've tried it with Mourinho, a serial winner. They've tried it with Conte. They have gone out and brought in managers that they believe are going to get them a trophy now, and it quite hasn't worked out for them. So with this new signing from Celtic, now the manager that's come in, you're going to have to give him a little bit of time. And I think Tottenham fans are going to have to be a bit patient. I know they've been patient for a very long time, but you got to build something. And he does look promising. Obviously, the Premier League's a total different kettle of fish. And whether it's going to work in the Premier League, we're going to have to wait and find out. But he's got to get his players in. And the most important of all, he needs to get backs from Levy. But as an Arsenal fan, I'm not sitting here worried about Tottenham just yet. Yeah, I might look at a few of the signings like Maddison and think, yeah, they've done a bit of good business there when they were linked to Raya. I thought he'd come in and be a good keeper at Tottenham. But look, in my opinion, I think whilst Levy's still there and he's tight on the wallet, they're going to be struggling.
I just think there's too many problem positions for Tottenham to solve in one window to push them back up to where all the rest of us are. I look at that Tottenham defence. I know that they've, like in the last half hour, agreed a deal for that Van der Ven from Wolfsburg, like 30 million. There's your left-footed centre-back. But is it enough to push on? And the thing about this is, I think Tottenham really have to consider letting go of Harry Kane because £80 million can go a long way in helping the squad. If he's going to go on a free, if he's not going to sign a new deal, you've wasted money because it's not like you're on the cusp of challenging and Kane will get you over the line next season. This is your chance to start over again, rebuild Tottenham in a new image, which is what you've been dying to do for 4 years. Since you got rid of Mourinho, since you got rid of Pochettino, arguably, you've been dying to recreate Tottenham in a new image and you've been stuck in the old ways. Harry Kane, to me, getting rid of him for £80 million this window is the best thing Tottenham can do. It's the best thing because you can go and reinvest that money into players that are willing to buy into the new project, players that are going to be in the new project for the long haul, rather than Harry Kane having
no, Levy won't do that, but it makes sense. Tom is right, but Levy will not do that. Levy is stubborn; he won't do it. But Tom is right.
Do you know what though? There's two ways to look at it. I think Tottenham, they could take that 80 million and reinvest it into the squad. But if Kane does stay, I think Tottenham have a better chance of getting into top 4. Where if they do end up losing him for free, they're a better proposition to look at and come to if they're in Champions League football. So I think it works hand in hand, really.
But it's a massive gamble. That's a massive gamble.
I think when you have the strikers available like Kolomouani, you have Højlund, you have some of these young strikers, even Sesko, that are like out there. If you're Tottenham, this is probably the best time to strike and go get somebody who's young and who's up and coming, who can build with this team. Like everybody said it, the Jose thing didn't work, the Conte thing didn't work. So now it's basically reset. I don't think they should. I think looking at trying to get in the top 4 is a waste of time, because realistically you're going to be in and out. That's what it's going to be. You're going to be in and out with what's happening in and around Tottenham right now. You look at all the teams. Listen, I hate on Chelsea as much as anybody, but if they get everybody in they're supposed to get in, they're right back in the mix. Liverpool's not going anywhere now that they're going to have a midfield. They need a defender. You have Newcastle, who I don't think will make top 4 next year, because I think people will be ready, but they're not bad. They're not going to be a bad team. They're going to be fighting for it. So you now have 6 teams, and then you talk about Villa, who's probably going to be potentially as good as Tottenham too, all in and around, and you have Levy as your guy. Tottenham has to reset. That's in my, you just reset, start over, wait for some of these teams to go through their drop off, because it's sport. Dynasties die, they fall. I'm praying that City's ends at some point soon.
I think once you got a Kane in your side, regardless of what, you've always got a good chance of getting in the top 4. Look how poor Tottenham have been this season, and realistically they were there and thereabouts until, say, the last 10 games of the season. And if they do strengthen in other areas, bring centre backs in, this manager does kick off. There's nothing that says, like you said, you think Newcastle are not going to be there. Who says United or Arsenal might have the same kind of seasons they did? You don't really know, when it's just up to Tottenham if they, like Hope have said, if you want to take that gamble and try to really push for that top 4. Because I honestly believe with the Tottenham as well, a lot of these young strikers, you're going to have to give them a lot of money in order to come to Tottenham. And obviously, I'm not saying trying to be disrespectful to Patrick and Tottenham in regards to the way that they are as a club. But I think a lot of players moving to Tottenham, they're going to really look at other options first before they think about joining Tottenham. And I think
basically, because my thing though is that it is a crazy gamble, because okay, cool. Because the good scenario is Kane stays, gets loads of goals, works really well with Maddison, and they get top 4, which I think might actually be a top 5, because I think the regulations are actually changing next season. So I think it's actually a top 5 now. So that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is Kane stays, and you're looking at how Newcastle is strengthening Chelsea United, and you don't make that top 5, you come 6th or 7th, and new manager, first time in a top tier league, finds out how to really hack the whole thing of really being tactically on points in a Premier League, and you come 6th or 7th, Kane now goes on a free. What do you now do?
Well, it's a gamble, isn't it? The Kane situation is just a gamble for Tottenham. I think both can work out. They keep him and they finish 7th and they win nothing and he leaves on a free. You may have missed out on the opportunity of some strikers that are available this year because they've signed elsewhere, and you get no money for him. But you make the top 4 and you get that money because you're in the Champions League. Maybe you pick up a trophy. It will seem worth it. So it's a big gamble. This super chat here says for the Tottenham, which is the worst, watching Poch interview all over Twitter for Chelsea, or the Hazard goal at the bridge, at the Battle of the Bridge. By the way, what a goal.
Is that directed at me?
Yeah, I mean, it's regarding this comment, actually, because I did see you triggered by it today, where Poch just said that in the last 10, 12, 15 years, Chelsea is the greatest team in England. The history of Chelsea is to win, be at the top. We can't have up and downs. It was easy to say yes to Chelsea. We'll work hard and play the way the fans enjoy football. This has triggered you, hasn't it, Patty?
Yeah,
why, Patrick? Why would it trigger you? I was
triggered as soon as he was linked to Chelsea and as soon as he took the job. And a lot of Spurs fans told me, get over it, grow up, it's this, it's that. But then when they saw that today, they now feel how I feel. I'm like, it's only like 3 or 4 months later, but yeah, like join the club. Of course, it's going to trigger you when you're seeing him say all those nice things about Chelsea. But I get it. He's at Chelsea. He's got to do it. He's walking on eggshells. Let's be real. Your fan base don't like Pochettino. And there's a lot of people that are hoping that he doesn't do well there. Chelsea fans.
Wait, Patrick, you know this for a fact?
So I speak to Chelsea fans, and I've seen
it's a marquee signing.
So if Poch doesn't hit the ground running, you guys are the most impatient fan base, the most spoiled fan base out there anyway. Like regardless of
no. There's a thing like between spoiled and expectation. It's called expectation.
Oh, come on, man. You lot are the worst fan base out there for giving a manager time or giving a player time. You're already
it's under pressure.
So yeah, I mean, Poch is under pressure from the beginning. So yeah, he had to say that. He's on the back foot as it is, being an ex-Tottenham manager, taking a job at Chelsea. A lot of people.
I don't know. Todd B's Chelsea looks different, man. Everybody's on 8-year contracts. Like I don't know if I think the them getting rid of what's his name, Potter, was they had to because the results were so bad. I don't think Poch is going to be that bad. And I think like when you have 15 players on 8-year contracts, you kind of have to buy into a manager for a bit longer than 2 years. That's just how I see it. It'd be crazy to me if Todd B screwed this one up too.
I think the board will try though.
He only got a 2-year contract, by the way. So again, that doesn't really scream that they've got the vote of confidence in him. I don't know.
I think the board will try and do it though. I think the board will try and back Pochettino and support the project like he tries to with Potter. It's whether the fan base, which has spent the last near on 15-20 years enjoying success and consistent success and instant success, is able to curve their expectations and adapt to the changing situation.
So
you are going to stick in a situation where you might not win trophies for a couple of years, and you have to back that. Because
no, Tom, I demand a trophy. Tom, I'm sorry. Call me spoiled, call me whatever. And so
this is exactly what
I'm not buying into a 10-year project. I'm not doing it.
12th. This is like Aston Villa last year demanding a trophy.
Tom, I don't care. That's called an anomaly.
To be fair, they did finish 10th. They did finich 10th and win the league the next season. So
yeah, so like Chelsea is not a product club. No, sorry, Poch coming in. This isn't like 2-3 years. No, come in. Let's get that trophy. I'm sorry.
You know what? I honestly believe
600 mil for a product. No, it's not happening.
I honestly believe though, the way Chelsea are running right now, they want to give somebody more time. I don't think they want to be that club that's just sacking players, sacking managers. I think the reason that they had to sack Potter is just because he kept losing. There was nothing more to give with Potter. He kind of had to go, and that's why they brought in Lampard as an interim, because they didn't want another guy coming in and end up sacking him and bringing the guy that they want. So I won't be surprised if Pochettino, I think he'll do well at Chelsea, in my honest opinion, but I won't be surprised if he wasn't doing too great. I don't think they'll sack him soon. I think they'll give him time.
Do you think have hope? Winning the league means catching City. I've seen a few Chelsea fans in our comment sections recently say you'll have a better season than Arsenal next year. Next season you'll overtake them again. Do you have faith in that happening? Have hope that you can even catch Arsenal, your biggest London rivals?
Well, again, I mean, with all due disrespect, I don't really see Arsenal as a rival, because for a club who've never won a major European trophy and their last league trophy being in 2004, I don't view them as a rival. So again, I think that's actually incorrect. But moving beyond that, if the players click and so forth, yeah, I think we should do better than Arsenal. The thing, Arsenal season last season was an anomaly, like that was an anomaly. And they had a chance to win a trophy in the league in Chelsea's worst ever season. They flopped, they dropped the ball, and now Chelsea now rebuilding. And I think it's now going to go back to where things really should be, which is Chelsea properly challenging for a title and Arsenal fighting for top 4. So, I do believe that Chelsea should be
finishing in the top 4 next year.
What is it?
Are you finishing in the top 4 next season, from what you're saying?
Patrick, look, you're not going to get me clipped up.
You're saying that you're going to finish above Arsenal. Arsenal are a legit team now. Like Arsenal,
Patrick, I'm saying that next season I'm hopeful. That's my answer. Next season, I'm
That's
hopeful.
not answering the question.
How did you go from saying you don't respect Arsenal as a rival because they don't win anything, and we're going to be back because everyone's going to be glued, but not able to say you're going to finish in the top?
Yeah, like you said,
That's
you're finished
wild
above
to me.
Arsenal.
Like,
Arsenal
you can't say all those things. And not
I mean,
back your squad.
basically, my thing is as we've already said, the transfer window is still in its early days. Let's see all the pieces that Chelsea can get by the end of the transfer window. They could be like, aha, this is Chelsea's squad. These are the troops that we have, and this is what I can see that we can do when we go into a battle. 100%. So for me, I still need to see particular signings being made before I can make a full-on assessment.
Arsenal have won a major European trophy, by the way. They have.
Excuse me?
Arsenal have won a major European trophy.
Arsenal have never won the Champions League, the UEFA Cup, or the Europa League.
They've won the European Cup Winners' Cup, which by UEFA's own definition is a major European
trophy.
That
doesn't count.
So
I don't
unless you'd like
recognize
to disagree with UEFA, that's
well, I do. I don't recognize as a major European trophy.
Yeah, I'm loving this. I don't even have to argue for my own team for one time.
Do you recognize?
Because it's crazy. How can I view Arsenal as a rival when you've never won the biggest European trophy? That's insane.
That's a different statement. I was just picking up on a technical point.
I think, look, over the last 10 years, 15 years, you got to give Chelsea their dues. They've been winning trophy after trophy. But when you're looking at right now and the here and now, I've always said it. I said post-Roman bums. People laughed at me at the time. They finished 12th. You get me? I think that the era of Roman Abramovich is over. These guys have spent 400 million in January, and we're seeing what that got them. I can't see Chelsea, in my honest opinion, moving up the ranks really quickly. I think they will improve under Pochettino, but I can't see them being better than Arsenal next season. That's just my honest opinion. I think where we are in our process with Arteta, I think we're adding the vital points. People like Declan Rice, Yuri and Timber. Hopefully, I want a striker, but we're adding them pieces to the jigsaw now where hopefully it should elevate us to the next level. And at the moment, I don't think Chelsea are on our level, and I think they're going to have to really do some work in order to try to not just get up to our level, but even a Newcastle. One second, let me finish, bro. Even a Newcastle or United, I don't even think they're on their level as well. So they're going to have to leapfrog them to kind of compete with us. And then you question Havertz. No, Havertz doesn't do it for me. I think I pretty much said that clearly. I don't understand the signing. In my honest opinion, I think he's dead food. He's been tried and tested in the Premier League for 3 years and it hasn't worked out for him. The moment anyone's linked with Arsenal, you have a lot of Arsenal fans jumping on it, and he's now the best player in the world. Not for me. He's got to prove a lot in order for me to think, you know what, this is a good signing. I think there's a lot better options we could have went out there and got, and I think we need a plan B in our team rather than somebody that can play loads of different positions and be versatile, because we've already got quite a few of them in our squad. We need a big striker. I've been talking about a Mitrovic or Ollie Watkins, somebody like that could come on and change the way we play if it's going against us. So the Havertz one, don't do it for me, but having putting him to one side, I don't think Chelsea are on the same level as us, as we are at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, this super chat here kind of echoes on that. It says about Chelsea, saying, why is Have Hope talking like they're regular challengers? They haven't challenged for like 7 years. And I will say that, you Have Hope. I get what you mean. You demand a trophy. But in terms of challenging back for the Prem, 7 years. You don't do it this year. You're getting towards the best part of a decade since Chelsea were title contenders. And I always feel like for all our clubs on this panel, with what we spend, our wage bills, being in title challenges is almost the bare minimum we expect as a level for our clubs. And that's, I suppose, before you really start thinking about the Arsenals and the winning trophies, you've got to get yourselves back to challenging. Because even picking up an FA Cup or a League Cup, you're not challenging for your league like all of us. If we're not challenging for our league title, we're failing, right?
No, true. But as I said again, I'm just hopeful based on lessons learned from the disastrous last season that with, guys like Nkunku coming through, Gusto coming through, and the other guys coming through, I just feel that, this is going to be a Chelsea rebrand, and your boy Tottenham is hopefully going to bring Showtime to West London, So
this here says a question. Here's a question: are the board and owners building a team for Chelsea, or are they building a team for Poch? There's a clear difference.
Look, here's all I care about is you're building a winning team. So Whether it's for Chelsea, whether it's for Poch, it's a winning team. Now, the sensible thing to do in the modern game is you build around the manager. Hence why when I say to United fans that, oh my gosh, why are we getting Mount? I say Tith. Trust in Ten Hag. So for Pochettino, I mean, look, I can't say.
How long did it take you to make that up? How long
it was easy. I mean, I was going to go with TIT, but obviously I can't go with TIT, so I tried to say Tith. So, now, my thing though is I don't fully ascribe to tip, but I have to, because in today's modern age, it's trust your manager. Nobody will know. Tip. Nobody will know. You have to go tip. What's it called?
Pause.
Pause. Yeah, double pause. Yeah, what's it called? Then you will know what's it called? Tick. So tick, tip, tith. You have to. What's it called? Tia. You have to trust
acting like
your
you've
manager.
Jesus Christ. This super chat here says Poch has a right to speak about Chelsea and club expectations as their manager. Chelsea have high standards. Poch already told Spurs fans his thoughts on Tottenham and Levy. # Levy out is what Della Spurs has got to say to you there.
Facts.
Try and get back to Tottenham, or did I miss that? Wasn't there a moment where he was almost on his way back?
He was, until a bigger and better team came in for him.
Oh.
Nah, we didn't push the boat out to get Poch.
Nah, you did. You lot were gagging for it. You were on your knees.
100%.
You're like,
the fans wanted
put it
Poch.
wherever you want. We want you back, baby. And then he saw Chelsea and went toodaloo, and he went down the road.
We never reached out. When I say we, as in Daniel Levy never reached out. The fans 100% wanted Pochettino back. We were singing his name at games. There's no doubt about that. But Daniel Levy, being Daniel Levy, and the reason why a lot of people don't like him, decided to be stubborn, go against the grain as per usual. And we never reached out to Poch. Obviously, Poch has been waiting a long time. A few people said to me today, oh, what do you expect him to do? He needs to take a job and all of this. I'm like, he's not living check to check. This isn't the real world. This guy's a multi-millionaire and he's a top manager. He's always going to...
Patrick, how do you know? How do you know how is living?
He might have, but no money. He might have got no money. This here says this Chelsea fan doesn't see the Cup Winners' Cup as a European trophy or a major one. Remove the sunglasses, lad. It'll help, bro.
How would removing my shades help me assess that the Cup Winners' Cup is not a major keyword?
You are trying to say your vision's blurred. That's why.
Exactly.
I trust UEFA over you.
But it's not even about trusting him. When Arsenal won that Cup Winners' Cup, when the Cup Winners, it was in the 90s, I believe, right? Early 90s. The Cup Winners' Cup was gargantuan back then. It was a massive, major trophy. So, I know, listen, I know, have hope. You and the maddest bit is you should know that more than anyone, based on your age and the fact that you were an Arsenal fan when you were younger and you changed to Chelsea in 2004. You know exactly how.
Yes, Terrace.
The reason I can't allow Arsenal to be slagged off the Cup Winners' Cup is because of what Fergie did when he won the Cup Winners' Cup, not just with Man United, but when he beat Real Madrid in the final with Aberdeen. It was massive. So,
but have they won the European Cup or Champions League? Terry, have they won the Champions League or the European Cup?
That wasn't. You can't change your point now. Your point was no major European trophy they have.
But now I'm changing the point. Now. I'm not altering it now.
You've been caught out, so you've changed.
Caught out. Yeah.
No. My point still stands. Okay, look. Hold on. I agree to disagree. But
you can't agree to disagree with UEFA's own definitions of their own tournaments. That's not how it works. Hello?
That's how it works for me. Agree to disagree. So, for this right now but they haven't won either the European Cup or the Champions League. These are facts. Thank you.
Someone here said
that was never in dispute.
Someone said when Chelsea won it in 1998, rivals didn't recognize it. All I'm going to say is this. I don't know how we were all talking to each other in 2008, but there weren't even MSN Messenger back then, bruv. So unless it was at school, no one was really talking. I don't believe that back then. No disrespect. Thanks for the super chat. I don't know about in the States as well. How are you, man, talking football? None, you lot weren't talking soccer at school.
I'll say that straight up. There's no chance. There's no chance in 98 people are talking about soccer.
I've got a lot of American friends who love football, who love like soccer. And love football, but they were like, what they love about being involved in the social media world now is they actually get to talk to people their whole lives, school, at home, at work, out on a night out. No one discussed it. So yeah, I'm calling BS on that one, bro. I'm calling BS on that one. The internet was barely alive.
We played FIFA and picked Brazil. That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
This year says Spurs want a manager back who never won anything. Ha ha ha. Little true. We'll come back to some more of these super chats a little later. But the big news today, Premzy, because I know you've got to shoot soon, so I wanted to get your views on it. Is that Declan Rice and Timber will become completed deals? They're both going to be Arsenal players. Rice's intro video, there's talk that Duchesne might be doing it from Top Boy, which is annoying because I love that show, but it being associated with Arsenal is kind of frustrating. But how excited are you about those two players joining your squad momentarily?
With Rice, I'm excited because he's proven in the Premier League. We've seen him over the years, and to be fair, I think it's just what we need. We need somebody solid, somebody young, hungry, somebody on the back of winning a trophy, and now he probably wants to win more and wants to take Arsenal to the next level. I think it's perfect timing for him to come to the club. Yeah, do I think he's worth 100 million? In my honest opinion, I don't think so. I think he's worth a little bit cheaper than that, but sometimes you got to pay over the odds and get a player if you really want him, especially if there's interest around him from other teams. And I'm glad that we are doing it. It's not like Arsenal go out there and splash the cash every single season on one or two players. So every now and again, for me, it's fine. The money's not coming out of my pocket. Just get the guy done. With Yuri and Timber, I have seen him in bits. I can't say that I watch him week in, week out. So it's hard because coming to the Premier League, I say this for everybody, like Have Hope talked about Nkunku coming to Chelsea and he believes that they might take him to the next level. It's totally different. When Havertz come to the Premier League, he was one of the best young players inside Europe and he was just scoring goals for fun, World Cup and all of that. It hasn't quite worked out. Timo Werner, for example, there was so much hype around him. Come to the Premier League, didn't work out. So we've got to see how he settles in. It is promising the way he can play and the positions he can play, because the way Arteta likes to play with the inverted right back, he can come in and do that. So we were kind of seeing it with Zinchenko on the left side, but Ben White, he isn't really that inverted right back kind of player. And I think Timber would potentially come to Arsenal and play that role more than being a centre back. And we can have cover for centre back if a Saliba gets injured or so on. So it is going to be a good signing. I think United were after him last season as well, which shows you that big clubs are interested in this player. We're just going to have to wait and see how he settles in. For me, I think we need to have more as well. I need a striker and another midfielder, especially if the talk's true that Partey and Xhaka will be leaving the club. But Declan Rice, I think, especially after him winning that European Cup and him really getting involved with the England setup and developing himself as a player, I think this is the right time for him to move. And with Man City coming in for him, and allegedly he's kind of picked Arsenal over Man City, that should give Arsenal as a club more hope and belief going into bigger transfers and trying to get people tied down. But the one thing I must say is I just want to see these men holding up the shirt, because until people are holding up the shirt, I don't really get excited until then. Get me? Because we've seen many times before people, it looks like they're going to be holding the shirt up and then last minute something can change. But Rice to Arsenal, fully with it.
You just said allegedly. He definitely picked Arsenal over City. Like, there's no alleged.
I don't know when I haven't heard or whatnot.
It's not alleged. It's very clear. Like, City came in, and I'm not saying City did everything in their power, but they came in. If he said, I'm only going to City, he goes to City. Like, the fact that they made a bid, it was official, it was there. He made it clear where he wanted to go. Like, that's very clear. I was like, I hate when people, and you said it, which is weird because you're an but I hate when people do this where they're like, oh, did he really choose or did they pay more? No, the players choose where they want to get. One sport that is, for me, is wild, where players really choose outside of the NBA. It's like, and football players really choose.
I don't think that really works, really because if you look at Mudryk was screaming out that he wanted to join Arsenal, and that didn't quite happen, did it? So
I mean, that's because you just, so that one. I mean?
What I'm saying is, sorry, bro, because you just make it for me. Obviously, I think you're making something out of nothing. What I'm saying is, I'm saying allegedly because I'm not a fly on the wall. I'm not in the room. I don't know exactly what was said. As obviously, I don't know whether you took it out of context in that aspect, but obviously, it looks like he's chosen Arsenal over Manchester City. Personally, if I was a footballer myself, and Man City come in for me, maybe Man City might have said to them, look, we're not looking to match Arsenal's £100 million bid. You got to think they've got 115 charges that they're having to fight. maybe they can't go over. No, realistically, that's not taking the piss because they might win that. But can they go out there and spend that another 100 million? We don't know really what's actually happening unless you're a friend of Declan Rice or you're a fly on the wall. Realistically, we're all assuming, aren't we? In my honest opinion.
Fair. I think it was obvious, and just based on how the negotiations went down, it just felt, and the fact that we heard for months where he wanted to play.
I think the key thing here is Rice the difference maker between Arsenal challenging from the league and actually really winning the league? Is he that one player who'll be like, this is the player that we're missing to really help us win the league? Because I think Rice is great. Havertz, it is what it is. But I think Rice is a massive difference maker. But I think the key question is, with Rice coming in, is it okay? No, this is what can really help us close that gap and be the difference maker in winning a league that we should have won last season.
I think he is. I think Declan Rice is such a good football player. I think technically a brilliant footballer, great stamina, energy, availability. His leadership doesn't get discussed enough. He will become Arsenal's captain within 2 to 3 seasons, and that's no disrespect to Odegaard. He just will. You know, if you've got a very good free kick taker, but you sign up the best in the world, he becomes your free kick taker. If you've got a brilliant penalty taker, but you bring somebody else in who's better, they become your penalty taker. The same will happen with captain. Declan Rice is a leader. He will get people following him instantly. And when you surround him with better players and a progressive manager, this man has played for Moisey and Southgate, which is restrictive football. I think you're going to see a very different Declan Rice. And I believe, so look, some of the big expensive players have flattered to deceive. But I think Declan Rice, we're going to look back in 5 years' time and say £100 million was a bargain. I think he's that good a football player.
100 million is a bargain?
I think 100 million.
To God that you're right.
Yeah, mate, I'm gutted. I was saying the other day to Jess, the real reason I was gutted about missing out on him is this is it. Unless he flops and is awful, none of the rest of us get to sign him now when he's pumped. He'll do a 5-year +6 deal. If he's brilliant, that takes him into his 30s, and then he's not past his best, but you're never going to get his pomp. And
that's when it's a bargain because it's 10 million over a year.
Yeah. And he's a player that I've wanted for 3 seasons, and it's just whenever an Arsenal or a City or a Liverpool or somebody like that buys a player you really want, you really rate at this age as well. It's impossibility that my club ever brings him in, and I always looked at him as someone that could help get Man United back to the very top, captain us one day. I think he's just phenomenal. I really, really do. And
do you know what though, Terry, as well? Sorry to interrupt you. I think you know what I think because he's, like I said, he's proven in the league, and we've seen him in the Premier League for a number of years. It gives you that more of a hope as an Arsenal fan to think this is definitely going to work out for us. There might be an option that he'll get played in a bit more of a progressive role. And to be fair, I've heard a lot of West Ham fans saying that they can see another level out of Declan Rice if he does get the opportunity to play a bit more advanced, where he could be that box-to-box player where at West Ham, a lot of the time he's been used as a 6 as well. So I am excited about that because I think if Xhaka was to move on and he slotted into that role, and we kept a Thomas Partey, for example, I think it would work brilliantly because normally Odegaard's are more attacking midfielder, a bit more progressive, and then Xhaka's a bit more box-to-box where Partey's sitting. I think that would give us a good balance, but it just depends on if Partey's going to leave or not. And if he does leave, we need to bring in to have Hope's question if that's going to take us to winning the league. In my opinion, we needed to go in for a Caicedo just to kind of like seal the deal and say, you know what, now we're here. Now we've got all the missing pieces where we can fully challenge and believe that we're going to win it, not have that hope to say, oh, is it going to happen? A City going to do this, a City going to do that, to be have full conviction that we are going to win the league. It is not just Declan Rice is going to come in and fully just change everything for us. He will improve us though, 100%. 100%.
AMT here with the super chat says, for me, we need another right winger because last season Saka was overplayed. And that's the thing. You're never just going to sign. When you West City were last year, you bring in a Haaland. It's that cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake. I think there's still a few holes at Arsenal in terms of winning that league. O'Malley here says, for me, getting 21 million for Xhaka is great business. Arsenal moving differently. Well, look, does anyone else, Tom, and Patty, do you look at Arsenal's moving different in the transfer market, the way they're renewing contracts? Are they behaving like a giant club in your opinion now?
They're starting to. They're starting to, offer the big money to players. Saka's got his big pay packet. Saliba, he's probably due his one. If he's not agreed it already. You've got Martinelli, you'll get his in time. Havertz is being paid a good amount. Rice, all that stuff. For me, I look at Arsenal in terms of they're now moving differently. No, they are just moving like a top club. All these clubs that want to compete with City have to move like this. You have to be exceptional in the market. You can't afford mistakes. And I really like the signing of Declan Rice. I think that is a ceiling raiser. I think there's a lot of people that underrate what he can do because he's Declan Rice and he's English and he played for West Ham and he was linked for Chelsea for ages. So people just have this misconception in their head that he's one of the best midfielders in the league and it's a really good pickup from Arsenal. But like, Havertz, I don't know. Like the 60, how much did you pay? 60 million for him?
So it looks like 65, 70, man.
Yeah, like that. Just he didn't work up front. I don't see how he's going to work in midfield where it's even more physical, even more demanding. Like maybe Arteta's got a plan for him, and that's fine if he does. But I just don't see that working. But in terms of the pay package you're offering, you're tying down your best players to long-term deals. Maybe not in the next 1 to 2 years. You'll get success because I still think City they're not going to move anytime soon. But because you've got Saka, Saliba, Rice, all these players tied down for 5 to 6 years, they're all going to be in their prime together, which is a very frightening prospect for everyone if they continue to grow as they have been so far.
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything Tom's saying. He's hit the nail on the head. I think the Declan Rice move is fantastic. He's a top player, like one of the best midfielders in Europe. He's that good. And I've been saying the same thing like Terry and even like Tom saying. The thing is, a lot of people don't really, I don't know if they don't rate Declan Rice or they're being disingenuous because he plays for West Ham. But I've watched him many times live and he's been the best player on the pitch. He's that good. And then going to a team like Arsenal with a much better manager, much better crop of talent around him, and obviously being able to compete more in the bigger games, you're going to only see a better player. So that's a brilliant signing. Of course, 105 million is a lot, but sometimes forget the transfer fee. If you really need that player, he's your key target and he's going to make the team better. You just go out and do it. So in that respect, I do like what Arsenal have done. Exactly what Tom said, the Havertz one, and like Premzy's been saying, I really don't get that one. I don't understand it at all. I've seen Havertz play for 3 years in the Premier League and he's been crap. Guy can't hit a barn door. His finishing is atrocious. He's been drifting in and out of games, just not doing it. Other than the Champions League goal, I struggle to really remember him providing or coming alive in the big moments. But we'll see what Arteta does with him. Timber, good player. Obviously, we've got to see how he does in the Prem. But yeah, Arsenal are doing good business. They're moving correctly. They're doing what they should be doing. Obviously, we'll still see. I'm sure they're going to have 1 or 2 surprises. The window's literally just opened. But as it stands, they're doing well. You guys stop with this Kai, he'll prove you wrong. I don't know. What's that based off of? That's just based off of hope. Because
that's just based off Arsenal fans saying we've signed a Leverkusen Havertz and
it's weird.
330 bags a week is what I'm being reported. That is mad. And then you're haggling over
330?
That's what I'm hearing.
German reports at 330. Do you know what I would say? The one, look, I'm not sold on Havertz or Mount. I really am. But when it comes to Arteta, every major signing, every signing over about £20 million he's made has been a success. He hasn't had a flop yet.
I like how you bracketed it over 20 million.
Yeah, but
because look at Lokonga, do you know what I mean? There's a lot of summer players that he's brought in.
But Lokonga was like £13 million, and
but he was all over Lokonga when he first wanted him. You know what I mean? Like he wanted him, Nuno Tavares as well. That quite hasn't worked out.
But they're kids. But that's what I'm saying. They're kids. They're like young prospects that you're taking a punt on. Everyone that he's put serious money behind has done well. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
that's the only hope I've got. To be fair, that majority of his signings have worked. I just can't see this really. I really can't. People are saying he's going to come in to play on the right. He's not fast enough. His defensive abilities ain't really there. We already know he can't finish. So I don't understand where he's going to come into this team and play. I don't think midfield's going to work out for him. And people say, oh, he's been playing out of position at Chelsea. People seem to forget the guy's had ample opportunity in loads of different positions in that Chelsea team, and he's played loads of different positions. You know what I mean? In Bayer Leverkusen, he was out on the right wing. In Chelsea, he had options in 10. He's played in the number 10. He's played up front. He's played out wide. He's played in midfield. it just hasn't worked out for him. Sometimes the Premier League isn't for everybody. I'm just praying and hoping to God that this guy can come in and really just be a different player, something that we haven't seen before, because I'm just so not sold on him. And I get it. Arsenal fans want to back him and get behind him, and rightly so, because he's put the Arsenal shirt on now. But sometimes you can't just hide away from the truth and just kind of unsee everything that you've seen. And now he's at the club. You got to think, oh, he's the best thing since sliced bread. Sometimes you just got to be real and say it as it is.
Yeah, no, listen, I hear you. I'm again, I hope it don't work out. But I just look at it, and my fear and worry is that most of you. So Fabio Vieira hasn't done well yet, but he's 1 year in, and most people give players at least 2 years to show something. Premzy, I know you've got to shoot, bro. Appreciate you coming on, brother, and we'll chat again soon, mate.
Yeah, respect. Peace,
Cheers,
boys.
mate. Thank you, bro. Cheers. Thank you. David's joined us now as well. I've got some super chats here. First one says, defo need to keep Balogun. And yes, definitely need a right winger. Another versatile CM/DM would not be missed, but that would be asking too much. I mean, there's been links of Arsenal going for Tchouaméni. Big report just come out in the Times saying that they will start to pursue Lavia, but so are Liverpool and Manchester United, according to that same article. What else do Arsenal need in your opinions, guys?
I think if Saliba gets injured.
Striker, they need goal. They need a striker who scores goals, man. Like Jesus, everybody was talking about. I like Jesus as a player. I like what he does, but again, City sold him for a reason, and they had no problem letting him go. And we saw the same Jesus. I didn't see much different. He's good at link up play. He's good on the half turn. He can't really finish still. Scored a couple decent goals, but I think you need a killer. They need a Vlahovic. I think they need to go back in for Vlahovic. I think that's what they should be doing.
They need someone who can get them 20 goals, 25 goals a season.
I mean,
all the great sides have a player who gets you 20 to 25 a season. In the tight moments, they pop up with the goals. With Arsenal, I think they have a thing where they haven't got anyone who's going to get 25. They've got a couple who can get 20, and then a couple who can get 15. But I think in the big moments, that's what's going to let you down, because you don't know who you want the ball to fall to. At least if they get and I don't think Vlahovic is maybe the answer, but I'm going to say his name, Vlahovic, then you know he's the guy you want your chances falling to. He's the one who's going to get you 25 a season. All the great sides have these players who get these goals and prove it in these big moments. And you're going up against City, who have the prime example of that. They have the prime example in Erling Haaland, who's the only player to ever get more goals than games and win the Golden Boot or whatever it was. Like, you have to have someone who, they're not going to go blow for blow, but they can match the big moments.
So the reason I said Vlahovic, though, is because his best attribute is movement and getting into the box. And one thing Arsenal does extremely well is they create a load of chances. They create, like, between Saka and Martinelli, all those dudes, they create so many chances that if you have a guy in there who has the movement of Vlahovic, I don't love Vlahovic as a player, personally, but I can see what a player like that would do in a system like Arsenal's. And I think, like, he's just going to get so many opportunities to score there that I really think he'd be one of those perfect fit type players for them. That's why I said him, but you're right. I think they need a goal scorer.
Centre back probably as well. I don't like Gvardiol personally. Left back maybe as well.
I mean, after the World Cup, he was one of our best centre backs.
Gvardiol is a donkey. Let's be honest about this. The amount of times Arsenal are in crucial games, and this guy goes and does a dumb thing and gives away a free kick in a bad position, or gets a red card, or gives a red card where it's, or gives away a foul in a bad position, or a red card that happens, or it does even a stupid back pass and it just puts you in a bad position. He does it all the time. He does. I'm sorry.
Was before November. When we came back from the World Cup, he was a different player, and he was better than Saliba after the World Cup.
A season isn't 5 months long. I remember at the start of the season, he went like 4 games in a row, either giving away a penalty, making a big mistake leading to a goal. When you're in these tight title races, yes, you were able to bail yourself out last season. That's not always going to happen, and you cannot afford for those mistakes. We had it for years with Dejan Lovren. He'd blind you with 3 months of good performances. You're sitting there going, oh my God. But the mistakes are always there in the player. And Gabriel, you might be able to get 5 months out of him. But there's also going to be those games where he makes mistakes. I remember it was Mitrovic trying to pass the ball out the back and lose it to Mitrovic. Fulham score. You manage to save yourself at the end of the game. That's not always going to happen. In the big moments, you can't be having your players do that.
It's an interesting one for Arsenal. We've got some super chats here. First one says, Saying we need a striker is a bit of an overstatement. We should get one. It's not a need. We scored 88 goals in the Prem last season. We need a 6/8 is what Tevin says here. Jesus would have scored 15 to 20 goals, but was out for 3 to 4 months. Fair point. We scored 88 goals in the Prem. It's not goals, but conceding them was the issue. But I think that the Timber is cover at centre back. It's as simple as that. He's coming in. He's going to be that guy that covers centre back. He's going to cover right back and try and get himself into that first team. So they're probably not going to buy another centre back. The midfield is what they're looking to bolster. They look at the reports this evening. They're going to go in for Lavia as well. If they bring in Lavia, Rice, and Kai Havertz, is that an improved midfield in your opinion, Sam, compared to last year, especially if Partey and Xhaka leave?
100%. I think throughout the season, our midfield was the most inconsistent part. You know, Thomas Partey had a good 2 months, and after that, he just fell off. And the issue with why I'm so excited about Declan Rice is he's consistent and he's always healthy. But Thomas Partey, yes, you get 2 good months out of him, and then all of a sudden his hamstring pops. That was the case for him in the last 2 years. Obviously, Granit Xhaka, his age, and obviously, I mean, he's reached the ceiling at Arsenal, and we could do better than Granit Xhaka. And we looked in the market, and there are better players there. Obviously, it is a risk, Terry. Obviously, because the midfield is such a crucial position, and we're rebuilding the entire midfield in one summer. So we've got to trust the club on this. But Lavia, Rice, and Havertz midfield is a big upgrade from what we had, because in some games when Granit Xhaka got injured, we're bringing in Fabio Vieira, who's not even ready to play in midfield yet.
Yeah, this super chat here says, name 2 Gabriel mistakes then. Waffle.
He gave away a penalty against Spurs.
There's so many.
The mistake against Fulham.
There's so many. There's one game I can't remember.
I swear last season he had like 6 errors leading to goals or something.
He stomped on somebody in one game and he got away with it.
Multiple errors like leading to goals.
Sam, do you remember the game where he kicked up? I don't remember which game this was, but he got away with it because there was a foul outside of the play. But if they didn't have that foul outside of play, he'd been gone. He'd been gone for 3 games. He'd been gone, like straight red.
This year, there's I'm sorry, but that Gabriel take is disgusting. He was undoubtedly our best defender. People don't realize he's defensive load covering for Zinni inverting.
I thought Saliba was the best defender, the best young defender in the world, and the best thing since sliced bread and Van Dijk. But now Gabriel's better, so then what does that make Saliba? Unless you had the best centre-back partnership in the league, then how didn't you win the league?
This year says from Brian says he scored the equalizer though against Fulham in that game.
That's fine.
But
I said,
that's not the point. That's not the point.
You're not always going to bail yourself out.
The point is, the point everyone, old Arsenal fans, are trying to make. Ever since he came back from the World Cup, he was a different player. Since he signed that new contract, the errors went. So for the majority of the season,
they didn't.
Significant errors.
Again, if you've got someone who for 2.5 years has made errors, and then for 4 months goes, oh, you know what? I only make 1 error in this time, but it's not really memorable anyway. That doesn't suddenly make you an error prone, not an error prone player. Because Sam, you're not willing to bet that Gabriel doesn't make a mistake next year because he's got it in him. That bozo gene. Every defender who you've ever seen have a bozo gene, it doesn't just disappear one day. It's always there. It's always there.
Chelsea South Koulibaly.
Literally,
it happens. I agree. Maguire, certain guys.
This year from Jason says, with Rice and Timber potentially complete, yeah, they're going to happen. Unless they fail their medicals, which we've had no reports on. Terry, what position do you think Arsenal will strive to improve next? They could still go. Lavia could be straight the next target. Another midfield player could come into the club. That's something that's on the agenda. I think an inside forward. I don't think they'll sign a number 9. I think it could be someone of an inside forward. Something like that, Jason, is what I think, mate. Is it true that we are going in for Tchouaméni? I believe Arsenal will be a force and a team to be aware of. I mean, reports in Spain keep saying it. Can anybody see Tchouaméni in an Arsenal shirt this year?
I hope not.
Nope. Not a chance in the world.
I hope not. I truly hope that would signal something different. If Tchouaméni somehow rocks up at Arsenal, that would signal, all right, league's on notice now. Arsenal's the Kroenkes got a taste of winning everywhere else, and now they're like, we just want to conquer England, because that would be a huge signing, but I don't see it.
I hear you there, mate. This here says, where is it gone? Sky Sports in Germany have reported talks with Arsenal and Leipzig for Benjamin. Did I say
Hendrick.
Oh, Hendrick. Right. Okay. Cool. Sorry. Yeah, the R and the I. Have started. Have you heard anything about that? I've heard nothing until your super chat, but I will research it, my friend. But I've heard nothing about that whatsoever. This year says, I wish Partey stayed one more year to help us transition. He might do. He might.
He's still here. He's still here. He's not gone yet, has he? So
yeah.
He might stay.
Isn't it amazing how during the season Partey was literally the best thing since sliced bread, and now they all just want him gone? I don't know when this happened, but I'm actually baffled. I'm genuinely baffled. I don't know where this happened, but it's happened. I don't get it.
They also happened once when they signed Jorginho, they were raging, and then a guy did a really good article on why it's a good move. And the next day, that like a gal came on, and in the space of like 7 hours later, he completely changed his mind. And I'm like, "Oh, you read the article?" He's like, "No." And then he just sat there with a smirk. I couldn't believe it. It made me die. So yeah, some man I like that. Rude Boy here says, as an Arsenal and Celtic fan, I'm worried that Ange will get it right. Don't be surprised if they win the Carabao Cup this season. Patty will be buzzing with that, wouldn't you, Patty?
Yeah. Sorry, that would be amazing. You know, like I'm not going to be one of these guys. Like, you know what Arsenal are doing with Kai Havertz? As soon as they sign him, he's brilliant and it's going to work. I still am undecided about Postecoglou. The proof will be in the pudding. Seeing is believing. Heard a lot of good things, but the Premier League is a different kettle of fish, man. It's a different kettle of fish, and there's a lot of good teams around us as well. So it will be interesting. But yeah, the rebuild's got to happen at some point, and it looks like we're finally putting the pieces in order. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Spurs will finish ahead of Chelsea. Chelsea will flop. Oh yeah, okay, nice one.
That's Mark. Not. But you already finished above us last year. So how is that a shock? Like this?
Well, with all your signings and the magical Pochettino coming in
last year. What happened last
year? It's a lot of Chelsea.
Last year, the exact same thing happened. Everyone was saying the same thing. So
mate, you're one of the sensible ones. You're one of the sensible ones.
I ain't saying anything.
This is big up the Terrace. Very excited about the transfer window, but more importantly, I hope you guys are well, doing good, my friend. Timber, Rice, exciting, and Havertz open to. Yeah, I get you. Man United and Arsenal fans are both in the same club on Havertz and Mount. It's like I'm desperate for it to work, but I'm so unsure if it will. It's like the first time I ever, my whole childhood, I must have watched 100 movies where kids in America would eat peanut butter and they say jelly, we say jam. I remember before I tried it for the first time, I just wasn't sure. Ended up being really nice. Ended up being really, really good. Nice thick white bread. It was amazing. So I'm hoping it's like my experience with peanut butter and jelly is what I'm hoping for here. I had a nostalgia day Saturday, and like the whole Saturday afternoon and night was watching like old school kids films from like the late 80s, early 90s. Watched Sandlot, The Goonies, Stand By Me, and everything. And it was great. It was great.
So I don't want to go off topic, but like I'm not as worried about Mount as a lot of fans are because something happened. Listen, I'm not as
you put it back. Sorry, go on.
So yeah, I'm not like so when I think about it. So this is the thing. There's a few games last year, and I got to go back and try and find them where we decided to play Bruno deeper. I can't remember what games they were, but it worked. It was like 2 or 3 games where we're like, all right, Bruno, you're going to be deeper this game. You're going to be smarter. None of the just trying to open up defenses on every single play, make the right pass. And he looked great. And I got to find those games, and I will because I have them recorded, and I'll try and find it. But if we do that with Casemiro and Mount further up, because a lot of those games we had to bring in Fred to play further up. Realistically, you can't play Fred as a DM. This weird notion that Fred was ever a DM is the dumbest thing ever. But playing him further up the pitch with Bruno actually potentially controlling a game, because everybody says there's no way he can do it, but I have seen him do it. That's where I think it could work. Truly, like I think if the manager's looking to change something up, that's probably the bigger change that we're going to make. Everyone's trying to figure out where Mount's going to play. Oh, how's he going to sit beside? He might just play further up and Bruno drops deeper and becomes like this whole notion that Bruno can't pass and he's this terrible player. It's ridiculous, and it's done by our own fans.
Yeah, I think it's going to show a lot of. It's definitely going to show a lot of things up.
Every year he's transformed his game. He came in as a second striker our first year. Second, then he played in midfield, and now
as someone who's watched both Havertz and Mount, I'd be a lot more confident in Mount doing well than Havertz doing well. Personally.
Yeah. I don't need to speak on
David hates Mount. Rude boy here says Chelsea should play without a striker so they don't ruin any more strikers' careers. I like that. It's a very good super chat. It's a very, very good super chat. We've got so many to get through here. We are going to talk Caicedo. We're still going to talk City on the show as well. This here says because Saliba missed the last 2 months, that's why, which is why Timber's being brought in. Thank you very, very much.
He's going to start by week 3.
Tevin here says that Jesus Christ, Saliba is our best defender overall. Gvardiol was our best defender last year. You're definitely being ridiculous here.
Saliba's played 1 season though, so you're judging his overall thing off the last season. Unless you want to count what he done in League One, which I don't think is a fair comparison, because it's a different league.
I thought Saliba was their best defender from everything they told me.
Again, from everything I heard.
Yeah, Saliba's
best young defender in the world.
Yeah, much
I was told better than Van Dijk at his age.
Better than Van Dijk. He's on the levels.
Better than everyone. So I don't get it. These guys are just chopping and changing. It's mad. So first they did it with Partey. Now you're doing it with Gvardiol/Saliba. It's you guys
remember
need to
the way they
consistent.
talked about like Tomiyasu as well. He's forgotten about now. He's gone. He's gone. He's injured, David.
He's always injured.
Tomiyasu played like 1 game last season against us at the Emirates. Pocketed sat at left back. I didn't see him again.
This here says that this Chelsea fan is clueless. Is it true that Partey is seeking the move, not Arsenal? I'm reading both types of reports. So Arsenal were open to letting him go. He might be seeking the move. The thing is, if they bring in Lavia, Rice, and Havertz, with the money they're spending on the first 2, he's being phased out anyway. And I was telling Arsenal fans all last season, they wouldn't believe it. You drop 100 M's on Declan Rice, you're phasing Partey out. It's a simple and a straightforward. If Man United dropped 200 million on Mbappe, I know it's a more amount, but you get the point. His preferred position is the left. We're phasing Rashford out. Whether Man United fans want to believe it or not, he's a better version. That's what happens, So Partey's probably thinking, I don't want to play second fiddle. I'm getting too old to be on the bench. Arsenal gets Usherman, Rafael Leao, and Nketiah to Man United. Yeah, that sounds like a good bargain there. Cheers. Thanks for that. Partey had 2 good months. Does he even watch? Partey was good most of the season. It was the last month or so that he fell off. Saliba had more errors leading to goals than Gabby, is what Brian says.
No,
I'd be very cautious about stat definitions. I'd probably try to watch. I think using stats to judge centre halves is a very foolish thing to do. It's probably the one position where stats are irrelevant.
How you go by the stats? Maguire's amazing.
Yeah, his stats are always as good as everybody's. How can a new Chelsea team who haven't gelled together finish above a United Arsenal squad who have been spending more money to get stronger? Deluded Chelsea fans. But this was more have hope earlier in the show, to be fair.
That's not you, David. That's
I was like, whoa.
To be fair, have hope didn't even say it. He wouldn't even actually admit it.
He gave it the big one, and then he didn't want to back it up with anything. Do you know what I mean? He just honestly, tithead he was tonight. He's making me laugh though. Terry, you assume you're from Barbados? Apologies, I saw the US dollars and I assumed it was America, but fair enough. Maybe you were discussing it at school. But we don't know what the rest of the world thought like we do now. That's all I'm saying, brother. But thank you for the super chat, bro. If Rice said that he wanted City, then City would pay. Yeah, I agree with you, by the way, Cam, earlier. 100%. He rejected City. That's it. This is what happens. Man United with Darwin Núñez. It was exactly the same scenario. And
Maddison with Newcastle.
Exactly. It's
Maddison with Newcastle.
I'm not even digging City out. You just
Gabriel chose Arsenal over us.
Yeah, it just happens. Yeah. It happens. Got to take your L's. Got to take your L's. Has Bruno Guimaraes achieved more at Newcastle than Rice at West Ham? No. Rice just led his team to win a European trophy.
Dude, I swear, if Rice's last name was Fernandez or I don't know anything else exotic, people would love this dude. It is
why was that brought up? Did I miss something? Why was that comparison brought up? Did I miss something?
I think that's just a question.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, where did that come from?
Stella Spurs here says, I'm tired of Spurs fans saying Kane needs to leave to win. He should have won with Spurs. This mentality is why Spurs don't win anything.
Yeah, I've never said this. I've never stood by this notion. Even earlier when you guys were saying that Kane should leave and we should sell, I said I don't agree. Premzy even then spoke on our behalf, so I didn't really need to mirror what he said. But yeah, I don't understand that notion either. And I'd rather keep Kane and finish as high as we can this season and let him walk for free than sell him for 80 million and we don't invest it properly anyway. I don't really understand. And sometimes as well, you can't change too much in one season. We've already looking to change the whole back line. We've obviously changed the goalkeeper. The midfield is looking to be revamped. And then obviously the front, it's a lot. It's too much, in my opinion. So I want to keep Kane, who is our best player, and see how the season goes.
But you could sell Kane and make all those monies, buy midfielders, buy defenders.
We don't need the money. Like, Tottenham have got money. If Tottenham want to spend the money, they will spend money. We're not like...
The money's there. It's just not...
Yeah, exactly.
Wayne Sage here says... Wayne Sage. It's not weird. No. Just trying to make sure that weren't one of those weird innuendos. Where's David getting his information from? Which Arsenal fan wants Partey gone? Not one has said that. And when did Gvardiol get a red card? He had 0 last season.
He didn't get it was the Leeds game, at the end of the Leeds game, when him and Bamford had that weird thing, and then he got the red card, and then VAR rescinded it.
Yeah.
I think that's
basically
what you're on
about. there was a foul. Thank you. I remember the exact moment now. Bamford blew into his back, basically, like blew into him. There's a foul there. He scored a goal. What's his name? Gvardiol turned around and kicked him, like kicked up at his chest, and they gave him a red card. But then they looked back and said, because the foul happened before, they rescinded it. He got lucky. It should have been a red, and he did.
Lucky. It was the right decision.
Yeah, this here from Manny says, is that a Packers jersey guy in the middle?
That is a Packers jersey, yeah. Rocking Aaron Rodgers, even though he's left now, but he's still the guy. Still the guy.
Sweet as. I don't know if it's just me, but I actually find the agenda-based analysis when it comes to Arsenal quite weird. I rarely hear football analysis. Just sounds like hope. I think we both challenge City next season. That's from a Liverpool fan. And what do you think about that, Nobbin? Do you think Arsenal are going to challenge you even more next year with these signings they've made?
I think it depends on who City signings and Liverpool signings, to be fair. I think that if Liverpool can get themselves sorted, I'll be much more fearful of Klopp's Liverpool than Arteta's Arsenal, to be fair. But that being said, if City sort themselves out, and let's say we keep Bernardo and sign Gvardiol, and we've already got Kovacic, then I don't think it really matters what anyone else does, to be fair.
Do you agree with that, Tom? As a Liverpool fan, there's a few comments that have come in here talking about Liverpool and what you've done. There's a super chat here talking about turning Szoboszlai from an inside forward to an 8. Do you think you can? Are you more dangerous? Are you more scary for City next season than Arsenal, in your opinion?
Probably not, no, because we are still a ways away. I think we still maybe 1 to 2 midfielders shy, and at least 1 centre back shy, because I don't want to see Robertson playing left centre back next season. Arsenal, they've spent. I think the pressure's on Arsenal this season a lot as well, because they're now breaking the British transfer record to get Rice. Good deal, but it's still pressure on it. Arteta hasn't won a trophy since the first half season he had. The FA Cup, was that in his first half season or his first full season? First half season. So he's going into his 4th full season now. Not that I think the comparisons are fair, but people are going to run the comparisons of what Klopp had won by the end of his first 4 seasons, what Pep had done by the end of his first 4 seasons at their respective clubs. Mikel Arteta hasn't got that. I think Arsenal need to win something this year, and I think the pressure's on them. With us, I just want us to win the Europa League. I've said a lot of stuff about United are this for not winning the Europa League, Arsenal that for not winning the Europa League. I don't think I'll survive very much if we crash out of the Europa League. So I need us to get that done. I still think we're a year away, but obviously we've been linked with Lavia, which would be a really good pickup. Great replacement for Fabinho in a couple of years' time. Centre-backs, that Colwell fella, there's stuff around us potentially going for him if he hands in a transfer request. We're closer. We're a hell of a lot closer. We certainly will be up in and around the top 3 next year, but I don't see us as the chief challengers next year. But the year after is when I do.
This year from Langan Sweet says, I think Gvardiol better than Saliba. Panel, who do you think is better, Terry, and the panel? Obviously, you're very close to getting him, Nobbins. €100 million deal for Gvardiol from RB Leipzig. Is he better than Saliba, and how successful will he be at City?
I can't say if he's better or not, because I've only seen 1 season of Saliba, and I've seen maybe 10 full 90 minutes of Gvardiol, and most of that was at the World Cup. And like one of those games at Leipzig, he held 7 to us. So I think I've got the sample size isn't big enough for me to say either way. But But from what I have seen, I think Gvardiol is a fantastic player, and I know that they can see 7 goals against us, and Haaland got 5. But if it wasn't for Gvardiol, Haaland probably would have got like 10 or whatever. So if I have to say one, I guess I'll say Saliba's better, but that's just based on what I've seen. But Gvardiol is basically perfect for us. He's the perfect mix of what Ake is in terms of his comfort out in the wide areas, because Gvardiol regularly plays in the back three of Leipzig. Laporte doesn't like doing that, but at the same time, Laporte likes carrying the ball. Ake doesn't like doing that. So Gvardiol is the best of both worlds. He's the perfect mix of Ake and Laporte, and he's left-footed, which is always handy. So yeah, he's basically the perfect signing for us.
Yeah, it's another big one for City boys, going out there, another 100 M's on another midfielder.
Good.
Defend
more.
I know. You lot should pay 115 million for someone just so that it's 115 to match the charges. Match the charge number. You lot should do it to troll other fans. Like, you should pay 115 million pound for both signings you make this summer, big ones, just to troll people. That's what I do, because I'm bitter.
That's what you do. Brilliant.
I'm bitter. Like, your billionaire owner can afford it. You can just invent another sponsor to cover that 30 million extra. Do you know what I mean? Just do it.
Just for vibes.
Just for a laugh. This is the weirdest super chat of the night. Maybe I've misread it. It says next season, 70 minutes, City 3, United 0. Pep decides to substitute the entire midfield and play a back 8 of Walker, Ake, Stones, Diaz, Laporte, Gvardiol, Ake, and Rico Lewis. Will you be there?
Yeah, we are defensively solid. We play 4 centre-backs nowadays. Like, Pep is revolutionising the game where he doesn't even need full-backs anymore. So I'm sure everyone will be copying him in a year or so.
Yeah, which one of those centre-backs goes into midfield?
Stones
Lewis,
can do it.
Rico Lewis.
Rico Lewis can do it. I think Gvardiol can do it, in all fairness. Laporte could do it. Half of them.
It's annoying, isn't it?
What is this, man?
It's annoying, bruv. It's just annoying looking at it. It is.
I'm just thinking about if my club tried to play our centre backs in centre mid, Joe Gomez would have a heart attack.
Yeah, I just look at Lobbin's little face, and it just annoys me.
I'm just a happy lad. My team's just won the treble. Allow it.
I like it, mate. It's all good. Does anyone know truly why we flopped before spending 600 million, before the January window had our entire 11 out? If we never had that, I don't think we would have spent another 300 million or got 12th.
David, answer for your crimes.
I'm so baffled with what the question is.
I think what
he's saying because your players were out.
Yeah, you didn't flop from in the summer to January, and if you didn't have 11 players out injured, you wouldn't have spent even more in the January, and you wouldn't have come 12th. If your signings were better,
we still would have come 12th. I don't think that changes.
Well, no, but what he's saying is, like, if you can think it logically, if your signings didn't flop and you didn't have 11 injuries, you probably would have done better than 12 because you wouldn't.
That's true. But if we didn't have Lampard in charge for half a season, we probably wouldn't have come 12th either. But it is what it is. Like,
if we all held our breaths here for like 10 minutes each, we'd all be dead. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that's how I kind of read it now. I love you, bro, but that's kind of it. Like, yeah, if you didn't flop, you'd have been better, definitely. This year says I hope you realise Poch will want revenge on Levy, and we put Levi in there, but we meant Levy, and say you give me the tools. I told you so. Statement. You betrayed me as a coach. Never let me win. Can you imagine him saying that in the tunnel after the game, like in his face? They've got to get that on All or Nothing. They've got to get that on All or Nothing, and I'll watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wish him anything other than failure and heartache. He's an op now.
I mean,
he's joined one of our fiercest rivals. Like, that's all I can say. The less I say.
But you wouldn't feel that way about Kane going to other than Chelsea. If you went to another rival, though, you would be fine with it. Other than Chelsea, I would assume.
As long as if he went to Arsenal, I don't think it'd go down very well.
Yeah, as long as Kane doesn't go the same with anyone.
I don't want it to happen because I want Kane at United. But there is this. You're. I would say, well, no. There's 3 really intelligent ones on here in Cam. I don't mean that really. You're all intelligent. I'm talking like uni guys, right? You're at uni, like. Nobbins must be intelligent because he speaks posh, right? No disrespect to the Scouser. Me and Patty are from inner city, working class London. We're not. We're dumb. Do you know what I mean? That's us. But and that's young Sam. You're too young. I'm not going to offend you. But what's the word when you like think in a, is it sycophant? Not sycophant. I don't think it's sycophant. I can't even say it. Sycophantic. That may not be the right word. Sadistic. Is that when you've got like evil thoughts?
Yeah,
sadistic.
Yeah, nefarious, sadistic.
So, like, there's this like part of me, this sadistic part, that wants Spurs to not let Kane go, and then he leaves on a free and joins Arsenal just to be like, you should have sold him to United. There's this sick part of me that wants that to happen because you should let him go. You should free him.
Listen, he's not a slave. He's not captured. Why is this narrative that Kane is literally behind bars?
He is though. Oh my God! I'm sorry, bro.
Player
he is though.
That is in prison.
He tried. Listen, he tried to get to City, and Levy was like, absolutely not. And then they dropped out, and we knew it was $100 million offer because he went and dropped it on Grealish right after. So we knew they were offering you the
I'm there for the storyline, boys. I'm there for the storyline. I want him at Man United, but there is this part of me that wants to see him join Arsenal
or Chelsea
just to see the meltdowns and the
if Kane. The thing is, if Kane leaves on a free,
let him come home.
He can go anywhere. He's that good. Every team would want him. Even City would obviously take him if he's on a free. Why not?
Oh, they tried. Well, they tried to take him. So not for free. I don't think anymore. I think Haaland and Alvarez.
If City were just being like, if we take Kane off someone else's hands, it strengthens us and weakens them. So they could have that mindset.
The harmony in the team would be messed up.
You've got that rotation. I mean, I'm thinking outside the box, but Kane can go anywhere. He's that good, but he wouldn't go Arsenal.
Remember, he is an Arsenal fan.
He's a Spurs fan, man. His family are all Spurs.
We have all seen the pictures. There's about 3 or 4 pictures.
Everyone's seen that photo, man.
Because he was at the academy. Arsenal let him go. That's how mad it is. He was at the Arsenal academy.
No, I've seen pictures of him. I've seen pictures of him like at Arsenal's parade.
Red hair.
Yeah, that's the same picture. That's the same picture. That one picture.
He's an Arsenal fan.
His hair red too.
His hair red. Nah, he wasn't, man. He wasn't. Is
an Arsenal academy requirement? All players have to dye their hair red.
Listen, I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Tell him Sol Campbell signed for Arsenal on this day. Is it today? Mate, that was
yesterday.
I remember being a kid, right? And I had to go to my dad's office. My dad had an office on the Lee Bridge Road. You know where that is, Patty. It kind of links Leighton, where I live, basically Tottenham. My dad had an office there, and I went to the office, and it happened, and it had been announced, and saw it on Sky Sports and everything else, sitting in my dad's office. An hour, me and my brother waited for my dad to finish work, and then it was like we had to drive to my nan's, which is in Thurrock in Essex, like an hour and 10-minute drive through the traffic. Didn't say a word to us. He was silent, my dad. Like, he was so hurt by him leaving. It was me and my brother just looking at each other like, should we say something? Should we say something?
Judas.
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 I always remember as well, I was at the FIFA Best Awards and he came down the red carpet and the boys from We Are Tottenham are there. And they called him over. They were like, "Oh, can we interview you?" And he walked over, and they just literally went, "You're a Judas. We're here from Tottenham Fan TV." He got very angry. He got very angry, and he had a word with Robbie. He's like, "Robbie, chat to them." It was funny. It was funny. I thought fair play to, because most people bottle it when the football is.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people. I always remember most of the Wenger outlaw at Arsenal, and then the footage would come out of him coming out the ground. They'd be like, "Oh, hi, Wenger." It was like, hang on a minute. 2 weeks ago, you're gonna burn him on the stake, like burn him alive. Now you want a selfie with him, you tart. This is a question for the Chelsea fan. Right now, are Arsenal better than Chelsea? Forget what can happen if we speak now. Just want to hear a Chelsea fan say it.
Yes.
But David, this wasn't aimed at you. This was half hope. You're just catching all his.
No. This one was only super chatted in 4 minutes ago.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
As of today, on paper, yes, Arsenal are better.
On paper, jeez.
On paper.
You don't know. No, but you don't know how it's going to play out. Arsenal could just crumble like tomorrow. Like they could literally have a whole Arsenal crumble. It's not like it's not happened before, and then they come 8th, and then it's like, oh.
That is
Chelsea gone before with the guest bro.
That is beyond.
But I'm saying my point is that on paper, if the season plans out the way everyone thinks it's going to plan out, Arsenal will still finish above Chelsea. But
it could be even worse.
Alan here says, "What do you guys think about reports of Arsenal being interested in Laporte?"
Oh, that's a big
all the
move.
City players
He
today
needs to stop. The man saying they need to stop copying my man, bro.
Thrift shopping, man.
Do
you guys have thrift stores in England? It's the same idea. It feels like at this point they're just going to City.
It should be Spurs going in for Laporte, really.
Poundland, yeah.
No, we tried already. He rejected us. He said, "Nah."
That's a shame. That's such a shame because he'd be perfect. I think.
I know. He would be amazing.
I'd have him at Liverpool.
Yeah, I bet you would. You can't have him.
I know, because you see us as actual threats, so you won't sell anyone to us.
They can have him if they want. Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, City can't sell to Arsenal now. You made that mistake last year, and now you got to take them seriously. Do you know what I mean? So you can't do that.
We sold them a defender that can't defend and a striker who can't score. I don't know if it was that much of a mistake.
That's coming out now. They're warming up. This here says, I will say this name, a time where Chelsea did a 15-point spin, 8 points ahead, never. You're the last guy to talk about Chelsea. That was a Spurs 9-0. You related to Spurs.
What is going on here?
I'm dyslexic. Is it my reading?
No. I was able to decipher the last few. This one, I got no idea.
What's going on here? I'm absolutely lost.
Nav, explain that to us, please, brother. Explain that, please.
I think what we're trying to say is Chelsea overturn a 15-point deficit.
With whom, though?
They're saying... Oh, I see. Okay, I get it. Okay, so basically, there must have been a 15-point deficit at some point. They're saying Arsenal were up 8 points against City at some point, right? And then he's saying, like, Chelsea would never be able... Like, that would never happen with Chelsea. And then I don't know what the last part is.
But also, mentioned
I get it now. NLF here says Rice changes things. I thought he was the new Gareth Barry. Well, obviously that was from Boovy, weren't it? That was funny.
Let's not disrespect Gareth Barry. He was a baller.
He was a footballer. Where the Klopp out people from last season? That's you. You were Klopp out. You were Klopp out. It was you.
Mm-hmm. It's still not changed because still needs to be proven wrong. Because yes, we've made all these lovely signings, but if he still starts Henderson first game of the season, then we've got an issue.
Can you imagine? I've got a question for you, though. I'm about to tweet it out now. The question is, who has the bigger pool in 2023? Newcastle, the new members of the top six, or Tottenham? Who has the most pool in 2023? That's the question for the viewers and the panel.
I said I wasn't going to diss Tottenham, but it's definitely Newcastle at this stage.
What are we basing this off of? But
if we base it, okay, like let's look at what since Eddie Howe's came in, even getting Eddie Howe, first off, better manager than most of the guys that's the type of manager Tottenham should have got. So first, and then you look at the signings like Bruno Guimaraes, that came out of that he clearly wanted to go there. You look at Isak, you look at Kieran Trippier. People forget, like, that was a big deal. I was upset. I genuinely, that was like the same way Terry feels about like losing out on players like Kane or whatever going to. I wanted Trippier at United. Like, that was one player that I've been screaming for. And then he went to Newcastle and he had options. So you look at all these players that have been happening. Tonali, Italians don't leave the Italian league. As much as I know he didn't want to leave, he still was like, fine, I'll go to Newcastle. He could have just said, fine, sell me somewhere else, because a lot of people needed midfielders. Now I go and look at Tottenham and I'm like, who really have you been bringing in? And then you had two managers who just destroyed your like reputation in public.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Paul. We're talking about the Paul as in
Newcastle or Tottenham for the Premier League title.
Sorry, say that again, sorry.
Who's going to challenge for the league title in the next 4 years? Is it going to be Tottenham or Newcastle?
Listen, I don't know. That's all I can honestly say, that one. I mean, we're not in a position to challenge anytime soon. We've got to be honest. But the question isn't that. The question is about who's got the biggest pool. You can look at what's happened right now. James Maddison, Tottenham and Newcastle were both in for the guy, and he chose Tottenham over Newcastle. That is facts. Tottenham wanted him. Newcastle wanted him. There's lots of talk he was going to choose Newcastle, Champions League, yada, 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 yada. And in the end, he chose Tottenham. Tottenham offered the better package in terms of wages, and the guy said he wanted to stay in London. He wanted to stay closer to his family. So if you're looking at Paul, that is a clear indication of what's going on. And I think as well, Newcastle fans have got to be realistic as well. Yes, they're a team that are doing well now, but when you're fighting the big boys and you're shopping in the same bracket and basket as all the top teams, all the top 6 teams, it's a lot harder to get in your key targets or key acquisitions. The same
Plus
with
you can meet
Dominic,
Beyonce if you go to Tottenham. Sorry,
Dominic Szoboszlai, or however you pronounce it. They were after him as well. They were like, "Oh, don't worry about Maddison. We're gonna go and get him." And what happened? Liverpool nabbed him. So I don't know about this Newcastle pool just yet. Newcastle, the better team, of course. But if you're talking about pool right now, I'm not sure if that's the honest answer.
I mean, you give a great example. Like Maddison did pick you over Newcastle. I personally think brilliant signing for you, but I think he is crazy. I think it's with what the direction Newcastle are going in. And this isn't even like me throwing shade. This is based on what Spurs fans tell me about their club. The lack of willingness to spend, the lack of willingness to make you a football team first rather than a commercial outlay, a commercial project, sorry. Newcastle, they are trying to build a team that wins major trophies. So I don't understand why you would pick Tottenham over Newcastle based on that logic, if that makes sense. Now, you may, for instance, some people say, well, why would Rice go to Arsenal over City? I think he's going to Arsenal to win things and wants to do it in that way and wants to kind of get a team that used to win back to winning, but believes they can do it. I just don't know if anybody truly believes, including every single Tottenham fan on planet Earth, whether Spurs are ever going to win another trophy, or at least you win one day, but not in James Maddison's career.
Yeah, until
I don't even mean it as a dig. I just generally,
it's
26, 27, he's literally got about 5-6 years left to start winning trophies, and to pick Tottenham, a team where their greatest ever player is now wanting to leave because he can't win trophies. I just feel like it's a weird move.
But this is the thing. This is the thing. All you like Twitter people, not you lot. I'm saying Twitter dons and fans. They all act like Tottenham aren't a big club. Tottenham are a big club, and that's an example of it. So even though you guys diss us and we're this, we're that, we still do have a pool. We're an established member of the top 6. Even in the comments when I come on it today, I looked at them. They're like, "Why are Tottenham here? They're not. We're still a big club. We're still a." And
but the thing is, that's not the question, though.
Yeah,
to be completely honest, that wasn't the question.
No, but it's going back to the question in terms of pool. Yeah. Tottenham are a big club, and they do have a bigger pool than Newcastle right now. Newcastle are brand new in this thing, and it's going to take more than one season to have a bigger pool than an established big club. That's my point.
Actually, no, but the question is, if I'm an up-and-coming player, my agent says to me, Tottenham.
That's not the question, though. You lot are mixing.
99 out of 100 times, going to go Newcastle.
That's not the question about who's got the bigger pool.
It's not that simple, though, is it?
That is the bigger pool. Who's a more attractive club, and it's Newcastle right now?
Again, though, you said if I was a player and I was offered both Tottenham, what if like the path to first team football is easier at Tottenham? You're gonna go there. The only way I think you can do, Paul, is if both clubs went in for the same player and they both needed him desperately, i.e., the competition for they were going to be guaranteed starters week in, week out. That is the only way you can really measure Paul, in my opinion.
That just happened with Maddison because Maddison would have been starting for Newcastle.
Yeah,
or Tom, are you saying he would have been on the bench for Newcastle?
I mean, Joe Linton's a hell of a player. Joe Willock's a hell of a player. I don't think the competition between Højbjerg and Pape Sarr is as intense.
I think he would have started for both teams. So if we're saying head to head and it just happened, like I think without a doubt, Maddison starts for either of those teams in his preferred position. And he chose Tottenham for all the reasons you said. Listen, I've never been to Newcastle, but I've been to London. And like I've said, when I've gone to Manchester and I've been to London, I'm always shocked when anybody, other than the fact that we have prestige or whatever, if you're choosing cities, London wins every single time. So I do think that is a bit of like a red herring for Tottenham. It's a good thing for you because you are in such a great location. You have this new stadium, and like that would be a huge pull, I think, for a lot of people in their lives. I just don't know how far. Like I don't know the geography of how far Newcastle is away from a London or whatnot like that. That's why I think
5 hours.
Bro.
Oh, okay. So like with Manchester, it's a bit different because like you're not that far. It takes an hour.
He's basically got an hour and a half, about 2.5, 3
hours.
Manchester,
I flew.
London.
So
oh, you flew, right? Yeah. Most of us get the train or drive.
Yeah. But I would say a player would fly. That's what I'm saying. A player could fly.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I'm not rich or anything, and I'm able to take a flight from Manchester to London in an hour. Yeah. These players can too.
Yeah, exactly. Cliff here says Madders went to Shit Hart Lane because we weren't smart enough to go get him. A brilliant acquisition by them lot down the road. Shite Hart Lane.
Yeah, respect. So I was going to say, even, there's a dig at the first, but you got there with the compliment in the end.
Why is everyone asleep on Villa and Brighton?
I'm not.
No one's
been Brighton for years.
I might sleep. I'll probably sleep on Villa, but I won't sleep on Brighton.
Other way around for me. I think Villa's going to be
I think both teams will be threats next season. I don't think no one's discounted them, but
they'll never be deep enough. They're never going to have the depth to compete, in my opinion, with the current top six.
Both of them have Europe as well. Both playing Thursday, Sunday.
And it's only their fault because according to League Gunner, they should bankrupt themselves in terms of signing players so that they're able to compete. Bankrupt themselves.
So ridiculous.
Man United, Man City, and Chelsea have bigger wage bills and they turn over a year of income, but he wants them to spend all their income on salary and then borrow money and spend it on salary and then win the league and then go bust. Lee, I love you. This here says, do you guys think if there is a player or two that Arsenal could sign to change their odds of winning the title?
Haaland and De Bruyne, bar that nothing.
Yeah, they need a top striker, and I think personally they need a right winger because Saka is overplayed and he's always coming off injured, but somehow he plays the next game. I think if you can rotate him and you get a better Saka because like for the last third of the season last season. He was tired and he wasn't the same direct and explosive guy because he's been overused.
Who do you think, Patty? Who do you think would be the best right winger for them? Like Nigel Farage, Tommy Robertson, Piers Morgan.
It's difficult in terms of.
I don't know why I'm laughing at them, but it's just making me die.
But yeah, I don't know, man. In terms of strikers that are available, Osherman, Vlahovic. I think, to be honest, Ivan Toney. If Ivan Toney didn't have this betting scandal, hanging over him, he would have been a perfect fit for Arsenal. They would have been able to go and get him. He knows the Premier League. He scored 20 goals last season.
Yeah, it'd be great.
And he missed a lot of games.
I think we'd be looking at him if he was available.
I think everyone would be looking at.
Keep saying Serge Gnabry's name come up. I mean this honestly. Serge Gnabry is one of the most overrated players. I think.
Whoa!
I think he's good. I think he's good.
I think him and Coman.
A couple of years ago, he had that blow up season where everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's the guy." Yeah. This man, he's very good. I'm not saying he is a bad footballer, but people talk about him in the same breath as like Vinicius Jr. and co. This guy, he isn't as good as Saka. He isn't as good as Rashford. He isn't as good as a lot.
He's definitely as good as Saka.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
He's not.
He's overrated.
Absolutely not.
He 100% is.
David,
he's not dining at the same table as the top wingers. He's not. He's
just
not. Like Jack Grealish, you could keep naming dudes.
You're telling me that
Mahrez.
In a one-off season, Serge Gnabry can't get the same amount of goal contributions as Saka did last year.
Consistently.
We're talking about consistently, bro.
But Saka's only performed at that level for 1 year.
Yeah, but we've seen. But you can see it. You see it coming, and he did it. So this is the thing. I was always saying I'm going to wait for him to do it before I anoint Saka, because everyone's always like Saka's better than Rashford, this or that. I still don't fully agree. They're different players, but at the end of the day, he did it, and now we expect it to keep happening. When you see how he plays for England, you see it. It's not like this is a flash in the pan for Saka. Listen, I want to hate on these guys as much as you do, but I'm going to be realistic here. Saka is way better than Serge Gnabry, and we all expect him to continue to be better.
I'm going to say this as well. If you put Saka or Rashford in the Bundesliga in Bayern Munich's team, they're getting 25-30 goals each in a season.
Comfortably.
No problem.
It's a bit like I know he had a good year last year, Balogun in France. And I was like, oh, shit, how many goals he got. Again, you put Saka or Put Haaland in that league for a year in the best team. I guarantee you he gets 80 league goals. With ease. With ease. Oh, that's why, by the way, that's why France has now dropped down to the 7th league in rankings in Europe. I've been telling you mugs for ages. Barring PSG's money, it's never been top 4 leagues in Europe. I'm older than all you pups. It was top 4. Oh, what's happening in France? No one cared. No one cares anymore. Bang average in comparison. I'm talking overall quality of the league. And listen, the Bundesliga is the bottom of those 4. And once you get past their top 4 or 5 teams, the level is the
Bundesliga right now is better than Serie A.
Serge Gnabry is 27.
No, it's not.
Hang on a minute. Italy just got 3 teams in 3 European
They had 3 teams on one side of the draw. It was a 3 in 4 chance of it happening.
But they were in it. Where are all the other nations?
Bayern Munich if you're telling me Bayern Munich on that side of the draw, they don't make the final. killed them.
Borussia
They
Dortmund
must
lost
have
to the
killed
top 15
them.
in the Premier
Oh
League.
my god, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Look at Borussia Dortmund lost to, David.
No, it's
To be fair, they did lose to us. They did lose to us.
Yeah, but back to the point.
They weren't cooking
There's Gnabry, very good footballer. But when people talk about it as being world class, get out of here. Get out of here. Hang on, I'm gonna try and read this one. I think it means what? What are Spurs fans' thoughts on your new manager? Will he really hack the Premier League? We've got to be real though. The Scottish League and Premier League are two different ball games. What's the explanation?
Patrick has
expectation. You know what? The thing is, my thoughts are different to a lot of Spurs fans. I've been honest and said that I'm not sure he's going to be able to hack it. I've just been honest. It's a big step up. You know, we've seen what Gerrard did, with all due respect, when he came over here, and we've seen what other managers...
Steven Gerrard led Aston Villa to European football for the first time in a decade.
Please stop it.
Go away. I'm kicking it out. Get away from here.
If it wasn't for Emery coming in and saving their asses, they would have been probably relegated. That's how bad Gerrard was. So
Gerrard's so bad, he can't even get a job in England anymore.
Mate, he's in Saudi now. He signed a contract.
And pick up they're trying to build their league over there, but listen, man can't get a job in England.
Yeah, in Europe, bro. That's why he had to go Saudi. But yeah, I'm not sure about Postecoglou. I want him to do well. I hope he does well. But I'm just going to be honest. It wasn't a move that filled me with confidence. But yeah, we'll see. In terms of the brand of football, it looks like it will be better from what I'm hearing and seeing. But in terms of him as a manager in the toughest league in the world, with so many good managers now in this league, I think it's going to be difficult. So we'll have to see.
Yeah. This year says Saka had a proper rest after the Premier League season, then scored a hat-trick in the Euros.
Like Montenegro, though? Like, I don't...
Yeah, I slag my country off.
I slag off your country less than 90% of the people on this panel do.
Koeman is our best Bayern winger by far. Yeah, it might be your best, but
also overrated.
This year, didn't expect Terry to call Gnabry overrated. Yes, but again, when people start saying Vinny levels, that's overrated. But there are better wingers out there. Off topic, at the Packers fan, Justin Fields.
You don't have to acknowledge that.
Maybe in fantasy, yes, 100%. In fantasy, yes.
I have no idea. You lot are talking another language right now.
Yeah, I don't watch American.
What does that mean in football terms?
Yeah.
In football terms, that is the equivalent of saying Balogun is better than Haaland.
Oh wow!
My God, my goodness.
To put it in perspective, that's like basically the same.
Can't do that. Listen, boys, thank you all for coming on. My viewers, you're amazing. My super chatters and members, you're the best. Please hit the like button and turn the bell notifications on as well. We'll be back tomorrow with whatever news is breaking. Me and Lee Gunner are live at 3:30, so make sure you are tuning in. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.